The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to talk about composting, as well as things you were always told to do in the garden, good or bad, as well as a special segment, you can make this at home. And your garden questions will get answered. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you are with us for another broadcast, whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2022 through our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Season 6 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay, in-studio video replay, or other means. Thank you for being with us. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, and why not? Preserving what you grow. If you want to get a hold of us while we're on the show or after, you can certainly send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or if you'd like to talk to us, you can certainly give us a dial-up, toll-free, coast-to-coast. That number, 1-800-927-SHOW. 1-800-927-7469. That is the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, a skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
Proclamationgoods.com. Thank you for being part of the program, as well as all the other sponsors you have heard and are hearing throughout the show and throughout the year. We're going to get into the conversation, Holly, of composting. Now, for some, they may feel that composting is a very complicated means of breaking down food scraps and then turning it into soil. However, once you understand the basis of composting, everything else kind of falls into place.
Right. And that's correct. There is a couple different types of composting. One, you can just do like a cold compost, where you put all of your composting items in a bin or a pile, or you make something out of like pallets, something like that.
Would you like label that as the easy or the lazy person? I don't know if lazy would be the right.
I would say it's like you don't want to overthink
you're doing
it.
You're doing something, but you don't want to put effort.
Right.
You want to waste extra time on it.
Not even waste extra time, just more or less you want to keep it as simple as possible.
And that takes a while.
Yeah, it does take a while. So that is the slowest method, and also it doesn't necessarily kill all the weed seeds. So that's the least efficient method, but it's definitely the easiest.
But you're still composting. You're not throwing the scraps away.
Right, absolutely. You're still composting. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
We've done it for quite some time.
Yeah, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
Then there is hot composting, a process in which you mix a ratio of brown, dry materials to green, wet materials in a pile, in a barrel, in a basket, in a bin, and then stirring it in order to get the process to break down quicker and to get that internal temperature to elevate in order to kill those weed seeds and any bacteria that may be in there that's bad.
Right, and that is the hot composting process, and you can use whether this be something that you create yourself or you buy some sort of apparatus to do this, like the hot bin composter.
Yeah. It breaks down, they're a sponsor, hotbincomposting.com, hotbincomposting-usa.com, breaks down food scraps within 30 to 90 days, and you can put meat and bones and fish in there and other items in which is not recommended into an outdoor or traditional, I guess would be the word, compost pile. If you're interested, through August 15th, you can save $25 off your favorite hot bin composting model by using my name, Joey22, at checkout. We've gotten the 26-gallon model, which you can go to our parent website and search hot bin composting, and you can see our unveiling of it and how we are using it. And there also is a 52-gallon one, which is for families of 3 to 5. Our 26 is recommended for families of 1 to 3. So $25 off through August 15th. Joey22 at checkout. Save $25 off at hotbincomposting-usa.com. And it's really a cool unit. It's got a bunch of stuff, but I don't want
There's some people that... Oh, go ahead.
I don't want this to be an info commercial about them, but I want to be able to make known that it exists.
It's really neat. I think it's really cool. So there's some people that also do this like really passive composting where they might have some food scraps like some banana peels, apple cores. They go out to their garden, and on the edge of the garden they just kind of bury it a little bit.
Trench composting.
Like trench composting, yeah. So there's that as well. I would not do that with weed seed plants, anything that could create more weeds for your garden. But if you have, maybe you're just one person and you want to use your kitchen scraps, you got some fruit, vegetable kitchen scraps, and you want to kind of give it back to the earth, you would do that.
Some people will often decide where they're going to plant certain plants the coming year, dig a hole, throw those items in there, preferably things that don't have seeds like watermelon seeds or pumpkin or squash or whatever, and then cover it up and then plant in that area the coming year. And it's kind of already built some nutrient value up in the soil. So you've got your hot composting, you got your cold composting, you got your hot bin composting, you got your trench composting. There's a variety of other methods of breaking it down, but the basic formula is essentially, and then there's some formulations that are different, but half green, half brown, half wet material, whether that's kitchen scraps, chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings, any type of green material such as weeds, and then 50% of brown material, shredded paper, shredded cardboard, shredded wood, twigs, that type of thing, dried grass clippings that's totally dry, no moisture in it. And you mix those two together in a ratio where the bacteria will start fighting or start working in that pile, and that's where you get that intense heat coming from. If you want to have your seeds of whatever in that pile to die off, you need to get it as hot as possible. And based on the type of composting method or unit, there are certain gauges in which you need to hit in order to kill those kill the viability of those seeds. And you can do this pretty much anywhere. Now, there are certain municipalities, and we've talked about this with guests in regards to rainwater collection, that is illegal to have certain types of composting methods in their city. You'd have to have something with, for example, no open lid or open container.
Right, or you might have to have it raised off the ground.
Right, in a tumbler.
Yeah, a tumbler or something like that because of, different nocturnal creatures that could come and look for those food scraps.
Little creatures with people hands?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Like the raccoons, or AKA trash pandas.
Well, it depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
So composting, if you've not done composting, Holly, I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at. If you're in a high-rise apartment, you can use the hot bin composting method. It's enclosed. It doesn't smell.
No.
And you can pack a lot in there, and it breaks down very quickly. So you can use that compost to start new plants inside or top off the plants in which you have. Or if you really want to get creative, you can, give it away or sell it. If you're in more of an area in which you have that space, you can do ground composting, cold or hot, and make it a large composting procedure. The standard, if you're, and I'm going to harp on this for a minute, the hot bin composting unit, because of the way it's made and the way it works, you don't have to have large volumes of of material inside of it. Traditionally, you need a large pile. Recommendation is,
right. Yeah, and that's why the one that's for 1 to 3 people is kind of neat because you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to have a large amount of anything to put in it.
And they recommend if you're doing like an outdoor traditional compost, you need 1 cubic yard, which is 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot cube. That's a lot of material if you buy the book, quotation marks, if you want to do it the right way by, quotation marks here. That's a lot of material you got to scrounge up.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
I mean, you can do it in a smaller pile, but it's not nearly as effective as a bigger pile to have more material and the breakdown process and all that.
Absolutely. And that's something to keep in mind. Whether whatever compost decision method you want to do, you want to make sure that it's something that is a good fit for you.
And we recommend
space.
Composting.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. A very, very effective way in whatever means you can do such. Well, another effective means in which you can do is check out Walton's Incorporated, waltonsinc.com, for all of your processing and cooking needs.
At Walton's Inc., you can get all the equipment, seasoning, supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product.
We've had meat sticks that were horrible.
Yeah.
The store-bought or custom-made, they're bad.
There are some other ones.
You got to make your own so you know what you do it right.
Yep. So they have an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's even has a line of their own meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible effectively. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of 50 or more and get free shipping.
When we come back, I was always told to do this in the garden. We'll go over some of your responses. You're listening to the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Japanese beetles show up in summer for a feeding frenzy in your garden, and they are the worst party guest, feeding on leaves, then laying eggs in your lawn for next year. Japanese beetles can decimate your plants and trees. Protect your plants with Japanese beetle traps from Rescue. New this year, Rescue has refill lures to use the same trap again the next year. Made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue Fly and Yellow Jacket traps. Learn more at rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com. Take the guesswork out of composting with hot bin composting. Quickly break down food scraps within 30 to 90 days. Find out more at hotbincomposting.com. Get $25 off your favorite hot bin model through August 15th. That's Hot Bin 26-gallon mini or the Hot Bin 52-gallon MK2. Use coupon code Joey22 at checkout to take $25 off your order at hotbincomposting-usa.com. Hey gardeners, it's that time of growing season, so let's start canning. Head over to Fleet Farm for all of your canning supplies and jam mixes. In one easy stop, find everything you need, like jars, lids, canners, strainers, racks, spatulas, and funnels from top brands like Ball & Kerr. Plus, pick up mixes, sugar, and more. When it comes to canning, get everything you need at your canning headquarters, Fleet Farm. This week's garden tip is sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. Beneficial insects are the key to a healthy plant, but using spray and chemicals can be harmful as many are non-selective, which means it kills all the bugs, good and bad. The amazing Dr. Zymes Eliminator is different and will kill the bad bugs and not harm the good ones. Keeping the good bugs will keep the bad bugs away. Kills soft-body insects effectively and safely. Dr. Zymes is OMRI listed, safe up to the day of harvest, and doesn't leave a residue. That helpful garden tip was sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Pro Plugger, Chip Drop, Bellbuster, Johnny Appleseed, Ivy Organic, Milkweed Balm, Walton's Incorporated, Bloomin' Easy Plants, Jung Seeds. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Happy you're with us today. Tree Diaper makes your plants happy because it hydrates them without any effort from you.
Tree Diaper is a revolutionary watering system that slowly releases water on the base of your plant or tree as the soil dries. The Tree Diaper is filled with water from rain or when you water and slowly releases water over 3 weeks. No more overwatering or underwatering with the Tree Diaper. Every time it rains, Tree Diaper recharges. No pipes, hoses, or electricity needed. Water your plants and trees whether they're down by the house, the road, down the road, or in the back 40. Also works under mulch. Whether you're a first-time gardener or advanced, Tree Diaper will improve the way you water your plants. Made in the USA, you can find all the sizes they have available at treediaper.com. That's treediaper.com.
Well, Holly, we reached out to our social media platforms and asked our gardening friends and followers, you've always been told to do this in the garden, and what is it? Well, we've got a list of things here, and we're going to go over what you submitted, and I guess I don't want to say it this way, but we'll tell you if you were told right or told wrong about what you were told to always do in the garden, Holly.
Right. So the first one is to water in the evening or morning and at the base of the plant.
Okay.
And I would say these are both correct, or all three, I guess. You want to water in the morning or evening, and then also the base of the plant. Now you're thinking, well, if it rains, how can I water at the base of the plant? And it just means that if you are the one doing the watering and you want to water at the base of the plant, that is more ideal, because there's a lot of good things and bad things in your soil, and they can splash up onto your plants. One way to prevent that from happening is to use mulch. So that is one thing that you can do. As far as watering in the morning or the evening, a lot of people think that, you know, the sun could possibly scald the plants. It's just that when you water in the morning or the evening, it allows for the best way for the water to stay at the root of the plants and not to dry out as fast.
And coming out of the evening, the plants are less stressed and are able to absorb the moisture better. Watering at night, not that bad, but you really want to avoid getting the water on the leaves, especially in times of the year when nighttime temperatures are cooler, because that's what can help develop mold and mildew issues if you go put those plants essentially to bed with wet leaves. So that's something to be aware of. I was always told to do this in the garden. Shake my tomato plants, use Epsom salt, cut away flowers that are bent over so you can take them inside. Shake the tomato plant because the flower has both reproductive organs in the flower. So if you're inside and you're growing tomatoes, you'd want to shake them to stimulate or knock the pollen down. Outside, you don't necessarily have to do that because of wind. Wind does that for you.
Right. Yeah. So that makes sense to shake the tomato plant. I mean, it's not going to hurt if you shake your outside tomato plants. As far as using Epsom salt, I know like some flower farmers will do that to help brighten the color of their plants or their flowers. I'm not sure if it does anything else.
It does the same thing. It helps produce, I think it helps the plant, the tomato plant, the pepper plant, all that. It does help in that. It adds magnesium to the plant for better growth properties. And then cutting the flowers off when they're bent over, take inside. You're not going to waste them. So that works fine.
Yeah, that makes sense too. All right. So another one is to weed.
Yeah.
Is that like some sort of...
No. They said that they were always told to weed, which is accurate. You should weed your garden, or if you go with the more of the let it be and see what let the strongest live. That's another way of doing such. Rotating crops. I was always told to rotate crops. Okay. Based on how large your garden is, that presents a challenge. If you're able to rotate crops, say you have a 4x4 foot, 16 square foot raised bed or in-ground bed, kind of hard to move that tomato plant a whole lot of different places.
Right. That's something you have to keep in mind is, yes, you can rotate crops, but within your limitation. And even us, sometimes we have to really think about this because while we have these raised beds,
it's not a 40-acre
field. And sometimes we have to take into consideration full sun plants versus partial shade plants and where to put them.
I've always been told to till the garden every year.
Well, if you know, Joey and I, we don't till our garden. We do the raised beds.
Minimal soil disturbance.
Yeah, minimal soil disturbance. And even before we built the raised beds, we didn't till either. So this is really...
We don't hate you if you do.
Yeah, but some people can get into, fist fights about this and whatnot. So I would say that this is really, it's really up to you what you want to do.
Why? Explain why we choose not to.
Well, we choose not to for a couple of reasons. One, because it can disturb the ecosystem of your soil and the soil web. Two, it will chop up the weeds essentially, and then
the root fibers.
Yeah. And then it just can create more weeds. And three, it can cause damage to the worms.
Yes. I like this one. I've always been told to stop wasting my time and money in the garden and walk down the street and go to the grocery store and get the same thing there.
Well, I mean...
Those are clear. He was clearly told this by friends who didn't understand what many of us who are listening to this program do.
Right, and people joke about this all the time. Why not go buy pounded tomatoes for $2 versus spending all this time growing tomatoes? And there's a lot of reasons. One is because it's fresher. You're not using resources such as gas, carbon emissions, etc. to obtain those tomatoes. And three, they taste a heck of a lot better.
Right. We're talking about like if you go to the farmer's market or if you go to the grocery store and buy the cardboard tomatoes versus the actual grown in the garden, harvested when ripe tomatoes. I've always been told to use eggshells and coffee grounds in my garden. Well, we've talked about eggshells before, that they don't break down as quickly as many people had assumed that they do. It can take 12 to 18 months for the eggshell, even in a crushed or almost powder-like form, to break down into a usable, uptakeable means for a plant. It's not bad to incorporate them in the garden, but don't think that you're going to crush an eggshell, put it on your tomato plant, and that tomato plant is going to thrive because it's got all the calcium in the world. It does not work that way. Coffee grounds, you can incorporate coffee grounds in the garden. However, they are not acidic. That's a big myth that goes around.
Yeah, that's a huge myth, and they lose their acidity when they're ground and when it's brewed. And I feel like you would have to really add a lot of coffee grounds to your soil to somehow change the pH of it.
Coffee grounds are approximately a little under 2% nitrogen, 0.5% of potassium, and 0.5% of phosphorus. And you do want to mix them in if you're going to incorporate them into the garden, because they can, and the nitrogen, the value of it will evaporate out of the coffee ground. So keep that in mind. It's good for the coffee ground. It's good to be put in the garden. It's good organic matter. Brings a lot of worms in. Things are happy, but don't expect that, because I've seen, what do I do with my coffee grounds? Put them around your blueberry bushes. Put them around your acid loving. No, that's not. It's. I understand how these things get started, but it's hard to get them to stop.
Right.
And
it's to relax and enjoy. And this is important, is that
many people lose this aspect.
Yeah. It can get to the point where you feel caught up. You feel you're almost like just focusing too much on weeds or problems or whatever, and you're trying to fight a battle or some sort, and you're not really enjoying what you wanted to do initially, was to enjoy being in the garden, to get your hands in the soil. And I think that, you and I, this year, this is not our best garden year, but we decided to pursue some other hobbies. And we will, sometimes that happens where you maybe take on a new hobby one summer and then you don't have quite the same balance, and that's okay.
And people, it's okay to have some weeds. People work hard to weed their garden, and 2 weeks later, look at all the weeds. It's one of those things that where do they all come from? So if you have never had weeds in your garden, please send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. We'd love to talk to you, get your secret on that, and have all of our gardens be better. So if we didn't hit something that you've always been told and you're questioning it now, you can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or give us a call at 1-800-927-7469. Well, one thing I've always been told, Holly, is Japanese beetles will devastate anything that they can get their little nubbins on, and that's what's going on right now in all of our gardens.
Yeah, if you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts. Derived from a naturally occurring soil bacteria, Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. You just mix the powder with water and spray it on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pests will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product, it's a great choice to use on your fruits and veggies in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only does Beetle Gone work, but it is the only product that is safe to be used around beneficial insects such as ladybugs, butterflies, and bees. With zero water toxicity, Beetle Gone from BeetleGone.com. That's BeetleGone.com. And when you go and purchase Beetle Gone from BeetleGone.com, so you can control those beetles in your yard, be sure to use coupon code GardenTalk10 to knock 10% off your order at BeetleGone.com. Hang out with us when we come back. Special segment of I Didn't Know I Could Make That at Home. You're listening to the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Do you have nuts or fruit in your yard? A Nut Wizard is a handy, effective tool that will pick up round or oval tree produce quickly and easily, leaving debris behind for a clean harvest. A Nut Wizard tool saves your back and your time. Visit nutwizard.com for more information.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use code 10TG22 to receive 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That code again is 10TG22.
Chip Drop is a website you can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA certified? You bet. No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. The same great company that brings you no more bugs, no more weeds. Kills weeds with no harsh chemicals, no glyphosate. No More Weeds is a commercial-grade vinegar base with a proprietary sticking agent. Great around pools, decks, patios, etc. Visit natgreenproducts.com, enter promo code WEEDS, WEEDS, and buy 3 1-gallon size units. Get the 4th one free.
Thanks for listening to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Rootmaker, Dripworks, Pomona Universal Pectin, Phylum Bioproducts, Tree Diaper, Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Deer Defeat, Water Hoop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Simple Grow, 100% worm castings, Your plants will smile at you every time you give them some.
Are you worrying about your plant growth? Provide your plants with what they need to grow to their potential. Simple Grow offers 100% organic worm casting at simplegrow.com. Unlike other worm casting products, when you order from Simple Grow, you are getting 100% worm castings, not filler plus castings. Promote ideal soil structure and aeration with Simple Grow, all natural and odor-free worm castings. There's only one ingredient, worm castings. No chemicals or additives will seep into your food, and it doesn't smell like other fertilizers. For indoor and outdoor use, you can use it by the bag, bundle, ton, or truckload. Check out what Simple Grow 100% worm castings can do for your plants, and order today at simplegrow.com.
Well, Holly, we will not go to the Proclamation Hotline brought to you by Proclamation Goods, but you can certainly call into that 1-800-927-SHOW. We're going to go over things that many people do not know that they can make at home. Now, there is a certain caliber of individual, and you may be one of those who are listening, that make many things at home, and none of these are going to be a surprise. But to the vast majority of people, this list is items in which I can only get this at the store. So we're going to go over a number of these things in which Holly and I have made and enjoy, and I'll tell you this, on this list, of all the things that you can make at home, they're 100 times better than what you're going to get in a bottle or a bag at the store.
Right, but we have to, kind of keep in mind that this is a matter of having the time and the ability, the labor, etc. For example,
I know, but wouldn't you agree if an individual did make some of these that they would never probably buy them at the store again?
Right, and that's
a trade-off.
There's also things like, hey, it's 90 degrees outside,
and
I don't want to bake bread and warm up my house with the oven. So there's that as well. So one of the first ones we have here is crackers. And we've done this. We've made crackers, and they were quite delicious. The cool thing about making crackers is you don't need to use yeast or anything like that. You can just use flour and then seasoning, and then some people will add seeds.
Well, you've got everything you need in the kitchen probably right in this minute.
Yeah. So you simply just take any combination of flour with flavoring and then some sort of other component, whether it be seed, like a seed of flaxseed
or
chia seed, something like that. And then you kind of just roll it out. You even need a rolling pin. You can just take your hands and smooth it out. And then you can take like a knife to make individual cracker pieces, or you can just kind of use, break it apart once it's baked. And there's lots of recipes online, of course, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah, we've done it. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com search engine, homemade crackers. Now, many people may know you can make your own bread at home. Either they've had grandparents or parents that do this, or some people do this on a weekly basis, sometimes based on their religious practices. They'll make bread every week. And there's ways of doing it in the oven, and now the luxury of a bread making machine or bread machine. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of bread in which you can make.
Right. And there's a lot of people who even will do this just out of a habit. They make
a hobby or a habit?
A habit.
Okay.
They just make a certain amount of slicing loaves every week. Maybe they do it Sunday after church or after dinner, whatever, or they start it in the morning and then complete it after dinner, and then they have their slicing bread. And then there's people who get a little bit more complicated, where they make things like focaccia, and then they put pretty designs on the top by using different herbs, etc. So there's many different options and choices and things for bread. Bread is pretty simple to make overall. And then there's things like sourdough, or I made a ciabatta bread, which is it's like a more, not as quite as fermented as sourdough, but there was a fermentation process, and it took me about, I think, 36 hours altogether to make it. And so there's that as well. The biggest thing about making bread is you want to pay attention to the flour. using bread flour has more gluten, and gluten is a protein that causes that stretchability of the bread, and it causes the binding. So bread flour is more ideal typically.
Yeah, we have a friend. She makes, what is it, challah bread? Is that what the correct pronunciation is? Now we can all enjoy homemade bread for certain. One thing that, and this may shock many of people, is you can make your own mustard at home.
Yeah, this is a secret though, okay?
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
This is just between us and you.
Yes. Mustard is really easy to make. All you need is mustard seeds and vinegar and water, and that's pretty much it. Now there's different kinds of mustard.
Right, you don't have to just have the old yellow mustard. You can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, I mean you can make like honey mustard, you can make beer mustard, cranberry mustard, cherry mustard, any sort of combination of mustard, but it's pretty simple. You just have to cook the mustard seeds down. It doesn't take a lot of time. You add the vinegar, flavoring, etc. I mean, if you look at the bottle of mustard, it's like mustard seed, vinegar, spices or something.
Can you do this and not have to can them? Can you do it like in small batches and put it in your refrigerator? You don't have to process it to a water bath or anything, do you?
Absolutely, you can do small batches.
Oh, right. Butter. Homemade butter. Let me tell you something. Homemade butter, and then you get the buttermilk. That is a win-win situation. Some people love buttermilk and other people don't. But homemade, if the materials or the items to make the butter was more cost-effective, I think it would be much more practical to make your own butter at home. When you've got to get all the ingredients together, well, based on previous times, it may have been cheaper to buy the pound of butter at the store. Now, I don't know. I haven't priced it all out yet. Yeah,
I think, I haven't looked at the price of heavy cream for a while either. Butter is about, I think, $3 a pound or so, $2 to $3.
Let's go $4.
It depends on where you buy it.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, probably $2 to $4 a pound.
Somebody's going, where are you getting butter for $4 a pound at? Ours is this much, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Join the club.
One of our local gas stations sells it, I think, for $2 a pound. But that's only when it's on special. So, but otherwise, I think it's $3.
But homemade butter, and then with the homemade butter, you can incorporate. You can make strawberry butter. You can make blueberry butter, raspberry. You can incorporate anything into that butter. But it is night and day difference based on, and you can make it in your food processor, in your mixer, or in a traditional butter churn.
Well, many people will take a jar at that point and then just kind of keep shaking it, pass it around the family, shake the butter. That
sounds like a fun time for a Thursday evening.
Well, some people enjoy that.
Yes.
And the thing is about making your own butter is it absolutely tastes way more fresh.
You will eat the butter raw by the spoonful.
Yes.
Yeah. Next one is homemade mayonnaise.
Yeah, so mayonnaise has had quite a glow up, and it's sometimes called an aioli, and it's the very similar concept where you're taking some sort of egg component, whether it be an egg yolk or the entire egg, and then you take oil and you're whipping this together, pinch of salt, etc., and then it makes mayonnaise. And we've done this. We made an herb mayonnaise once, and that was really good. And it's pretty simple to make your own mayonnaise. I think a lot of people have misconceptions about what goes in mayonnaise, and it's not complicated.
Well, if you let's just go down that road for a short period of time. If you've got a lot of eggs and a little bit of oil, you can make a lot of mayonnaise and give it out as gifts or a thank you or whatever, because you
need a little bit more than a little bit of oil, but you do need oil, yeah.
But if you've got massive amounts of eggs that you need to do something with, making mayonnaise, give it out to friends, peanut butter cups or peanut butter treats. We've all had these in school where it was a chocolate and then the peanut butter was underneath. Holly makes, for me, she removes the chocolate and just makes the peanut butter part of it only.
Because that's Joey's favorite part. I haven't made him that in a long time.
You haven't. So if you would like Holly to make some for me. That is an easy way. And by far, if you probably put the ingredients together compared to what you would get from the store, probably the ingredients that you're making at home is quite a bit healthier, even though it is peanut butter and chocolate, than what the commercial equivalent would be. Another equivalent of a commercial product you can make at home, fruit roll-ups.
Yeah, so fruit roll-ups, you're not going to make quite the same as fruit roll-ups. You're going to make
them better.
Some sort of, yes, it's better. Some sort of fruit leather type situation. Yes. But it is quite tasty. Most people use strawberries or I think strawberries is the most common.
Yeah, I mean, you can use pineapple and blackberries
pineapple.
and anything you got. Yeah.
Yeah, and I forget the process, but
You dehydrate it.
Yeah, you dehydrate it.
You gotta have a special tray.
Yeah. But that is something that many people will do, and it is quite tasty.
We did that. Oh, what did we have? We did that with pears one year. That wasn't terrible. So you can do it with anything, and you can really expand your palate compared to what is available commercially. Here's one you can make: mozzarella at home. You can make your own mozzarella cheese at home with a few steps.
Yeah, so you do have to get something called rennet, but a lot of organic food stores sell this.
So would you say the comparison of store-bought versus homemade equivalent in price, or would you say some of these are more expensive, but in the long run it's better? Or how would you classify that in the whole?
I think with mozzarella it's probably comparable in price.
But it's better.
Yeah, it is better. It's going to taste fresher. It's going to have more of that delicious creamy taste.
And the downside, if there is one, to making your own all of this at home, you're going to eat much more of this without any additional components to it. Eating the butter out of the spoon, eating the mozzarella without putting on a crack, that type of thing. Another thing you can make at home, even if you're not a butcher, you can make your own sausages at home. You can go to waltonsinc.com, use coupon code GROW50 to save 10% on your order of $50 or more. Make your own sausage. You can get your own sausage stuffer from there. The sausage casings. Get your raw meat from your grocery store or your personal butcher, and then you can make that all at home exactly how you want it to be, instead of going through the grocery store aisle going, well, I like this, but I want this and all that.
Maybe somebody might say, I don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Well, some people want to know what's in the sausage so they can enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah. Another one is vanilla extract, and we're not talking about the art of the imitation, which that's what I grew up on. We're talking about the true, authentic vanilla extract that is made with vanilla bean and vodka.
Right, you can use vodka. Some people use rum, but it's typically vodka, and this does take some time. You have to let the vanilla bean really soak and permeate the liquor. And then you do get vanilla extract, and it is quite tasty. It does smell strong like liquor, but then once you utilize it, whether you're baking with it or whatever, that potency goes away because it's so highly concentrated. And this is something I actually stopped doing this, but I got my mom to do it, and she does this now continually.
Is there a process of making vinegar if you are if your religious practices say you can't use or drink alcohol? Is there a way of doing it with a non-alcoholic basis, or is that just
you mean vanilla?
Yeah, right. Or is it just you're going to have to go buy the imitation and go that
I don't know.
Okay.
You'd have to,
because there are some religious practice faiths that say
that's something that
right.
Perhaps
I didn't know if you knew the answer to that or not. Homemade vinegar and flavored vinegars.
Yeah, we've made plenty of vinegar ourselves and flavored vinegars. But we've made apple scrap or pear scrap or scrap vinegar.
And pineapple scrap vinegar.
Yeah.
Pear scrap vinegar. And then we've also made strawberry vinegar, where you take the vinegar and you infuse the fruit for a certain period of time in order to change the flavor of that.
Yeah, you can add some sort of fruit. You can even add things like garlic to make flavored garlic vinegar, things like that. And you infuse the vinegar essentially over time. And
then you remove those items in which you are using to infuse the vinegar so it's not setting in that vinegar material. You're straining the solids out. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Homemade peanut butter.
I have another one after peanut butter.
Okay.
So homemade peanut butter, pretty simple. You just take peanuts.
Grind them up in the food processor for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then
some people have these high speed blenders, etc., and you can make peanut butter in those.
You want to get the salted peanuts, because if you just get the raw roast or the roasted peanuts with no salt, you're going to have to add a little salt. So get the combination all, and then grind it up into you just go until it turns into a peanut paste, and boy, put it on your homemade crackers and have everybody leave you alone for a little bit.
Right. So peanut butter is easy to make. Another one is yogurts, and this is, a lot of people think you need a lot of, whether it be a yogurt starter or you need a yogurt machine situation, whatever. But I can make yogurt from just using regular milk And you can also use...
When you say regular milk, you mean traditional cow milk. Is that correct?
Right, cow milk. And some people do make this using, milk alternatives like almond milk or whatever. But you just take about a tablespoon from a store-bought batch of yogurt, mix it together and with some milk, and then you kind of heat it up a little bit. I pour mine then into a mason jar and then leave it overnight in my oven. Not my oven turned on, just using the insulation of the oven. And then it sets itself, and then I have yogurt.
Okay. And then with that yogurt, you're just plain white yogurt. You can infuse different flavors or things into that yogurt? Is that pre or post making it? How you're just making
just do it post.
You're just making traditional yogurt, and then you would mix your berries in or whatever you wanted to following that.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. A list of a number of things that you may not known that you could make at home. And then you can certainly search these online and dig through the recipes of what you find, and you can make them at home and surprise yourself and or your family, grandkids, whomever. And they'll be amazed at how much better it is made and taste at home than the store-bought. Well, hang out with us when we return. It's time for your garden questions, our garden answers. You are tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off your order.
Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit blueribbonorganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you. It's a struggle to find fruit that isn't a disappointment or a waste of money, especially peaches at the grocery store. You bring them home, they turn mealy and gross. Well, Tree Ripe Fruit Company has the answer. They deliver fruit straight from the farm, obsessed with quality, so you can actually experience the joy of a great tasting fruit. Love Georgia peaches? Tree Ripe delivers the best peaches you'll ever eat directly from the farm within days of being picked. Peach season starts June 15th and goes through August 4th. In July, they also deliver Michigan blueberries. You can find them at over 400 Peach Stops events throughout the Midwest, or have fruit delivered directly to your home. All the event details and ordering information can be found at their website, tree-ripe.com. An extra bonus for you listeners, get 10% off your first purchase when you order online only, tree-ripe.com, by using coupon code HOLLY10, HOLLY10. A little bit of summer is what the whole year's all about. Barbecues, parties with friends. The fun is endless, unless the sun or thunderstorms have damaged your outdoor furniture. Keep it looking brand new with custom protective covers from coversandall.com. They have fabric choices for days that are 100% waterproof, coated to protect against sun, and can be custom designed for any size or shape, and placing or removing them. Easy peasy. Visit coversandall.com and use code GARDEN25 at checkout to save 25% on your purchase. Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Tree Ripe, Covers and All, Ironwood Tool Company, Timber Pro Coatings, Blue Ribbon Organics, Natural Green Products, Algae Men, Dr. Zymes, Happy Leaf LED, Rescue, Big Tool Rack, Hot Bin Composting, Proclamation Goods. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. It's time for your garden questions, our garden answers. If you've got a question, certainly send it over. We would happily help you out and make your garden grow better, make your canning situation more efficient, effective. You can do that at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or if you want to give us a ring-a-ding-ding on your mobile device, it's toll-free coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-7469. And that's Proclamation, sponsored by Proclamation Goods.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order is now at proclamationgoods.com.
The Proclamation Hotline brought to you by Proclamation Goods, 1-800-927-7469. Start out with the first question here, Holly. This question is sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com. You've talked about covering carrots to get better germination. You spoke about using cardboard. I feel uncomfortable about using cardboard because of the potential toxicity of the glue that they make it with. Are there other options in which covering your carrots for best germination?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can use like a paper bag or a 2x4 or 2x8 on a board. You can just use a board, a solid wood board, plywood, particle board, etc.
Well, plywood and particle board we want to avoid because of the glue, but it's not anything hard wood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, something where the glue isn't used. If you have some sort of old wood that you can just lay on the rows, you can certainly do that to get that germination going for those carrots. And what is that tip? Maybe for who's
you want to cover your seeds at the time of planting. You want to plant them, water them in, and then cover them with that board, piece of cardboard or paper sack, and hold it down if it's a paper sack or cardboard for about 14 to 21 days, which is the length of time in which germination takes for carrots. Once that time has occurred, you remove it. You can check it. If you see white stringy things, that's the carrots. Remove the covering and let them be. Water them again, and they will whiten up, they'll green up. They'll start photosynthesizing, and you will have carrot germination of an increase of over 80% by doing this. Because the seed of the carrot is so tiny and you need very minimal soil coverage, that seed will dry out very quickly. And without good seed to moisture to soil contact, you don't have carrots. So this is a good time. Carrots take about 70 or so days, 70, 80 days to reach maturity. So based on where you're at, you might want to wait a few more weeks in order to get the coolness of the nights and the fall to kick in to allow those carrots to grow a little bit better than in the current heat that some of you may be experiencing. But that's how you grow better carrots. All right, here's another one. Holly, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so I noticed that the water from my air conditioner condensation drain pipe, it just goes into the ground to get wasted. Is there something I can use it for? Is it safe to use? What's up?
All right, the water that comes from your condensation of the air conditioning, it can be used. It's purely like condensation on like a cold glass that you pull out of the fridge. So you can use this for anything that you would water your plants with, washing the deck, the patio, anything outdoor type of situation. You don't want to drink it because there can be some issues with that purity of water, but it's not dangerous to use for your plants or for cleaning purposes outdoors type of thing. But so if you can get a bucket underneath it, based on where you're at, you can acquire quite a many gallons of water out of your air conditioning unit on a hot summer day. I would recommend capturing it and then moving it. I wouldn't try to connect some type of pipe to the condensation pipe to drain it to a certain location in the garden, though that may work, but there could be some issues with the HVAC and all of that other things. So do that at your own risk, but certainly you can capture the water from a window unit and or from a traditional coming out of a building, house, and dropping into the ground and being wasted. You can capture that and be just fine. All right, here. My zucchini plant seems to have many male flowers, but no female flowers. What's the deal?
Well, in hot weather, zucchini may only produce the male flowers. That does occur. Also, the major factor could be a lack of bee activity. So sometimes you need to attract more bees to your garden.
Would self-pollination be an option here?
Yes.
or stimulation for the plant in order to.
So you could what you could do is when the zucchini plant puts out those male flowers, it's trying to get a feel for, hey, am I going to have a chance for survival? Am I going to get pollinated? So if you take
can I reproduce? Can I make seeds to reproduce?
Yeah. That's all zucchini. That's all any plant cares about. It's fit for survival. So it wants to be able to reproduce. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your finger, touch the middle of each flower. Then the zucchini plant's going to know, hey, I'm getting stimulated. And then it's going to put out the equal amount of female flowers. And then hopefully you'll have some bees that will do their thing.
All righty then. And that goes not just for zucchini. That can go for squashes across the board, pumpkin, even cucumbers, watermelon, the stimulation part. And the heat can also affect variety of pollination plants. If it gets too hot, peppers and tomatoes and eggplants will drop their flowers because they're in survival mode, not reproductive mode. So if you are experiencing some of them triple-digit temperatures that some of the country is experiencing, and your plants just don't seem like they're doing anything, that's because they're not. They are just surviving. Be sure you water them when the temperatures come down a little bit. Keep the moisture to the soil. Add a little mulch, and they will come back if you have enough time left in the season. What is the best thing you can do with some used coffee grounds, Holly?
Well, aside from composting them, you can compost them.
All right.
You can add them to your soil. You can, which is a good idea. Same thing with tea grounds. You just broadcast them in your soil and then take a garden fork and kind of mix them in a little bit. Yeah. What else?
2%, about 2% nitrogen, 0.5% of phosphorus and potassium in them, and again mix them in, and you can put them in, mix them in so they can so the nitrogen, so the nutrients doesn't evaporate out. You can feed them, put them in your worm bin. You can put them in the garden to attract worms. They are very good attractee of worms. I don't know why it's great organic material, but putting it around plants that are acid loving, quote unquote, there's no acid in the coffee grounds. That has all been brewed out during the coffee making process. So that is a very popular garden myth. So don't fall for that. All right, I'm in the Chicago area, and is there still time to plant carrots, bush beans, and beets?
Yeah.
Yeah, the average frost date in Chicago is typically, let's say, right around October 13th. So the beans, Holly, you got bush beans. It takes about 60 days before they'll start producing. So you got a little time there. Carrots and beets, they can handle some cool weather. They actually like a little chill in the air.
Yeah, we've done late season beets, and that's definitely worked out. You would want to get them in the ground as soon as possible, but it is something that can happen.
Yeah, beets take 67 days, 72 days. Carrots take 70, 80 days. So by doing that, if you don't want to put them in when it's 105 degrees, but those will handle if you get a frost past the average frost date in your particular area. All right, next question, Holly.
Yeah, so I'm growing onions for my first time, and they're looking really great from what I can tell. But I don't really know when to harvest them. I've heard maybe you would see the tops die off. I've heard that you can just dig them out. I'm not really entirely sure, and I don't even know exactly when I planted them. So when is there anything that will tell me when I know?
All right, there's short day, long day, Nutri-Day onions. If you're growing the right variety of onions in the correct geographical location, you're going to have large bulbs. So if you got large bulbs, you've grown the right kind of onions. When the stalk falls over and crimps the stem of the onion, that is the indication that regardless of whatever size the bulb is, the plant is done growing. Whether it's a golf ball size or whether it's a softball size bulb, once that top falls over and crimps the stem, you're done growing. So that it's done growing. So that would be an indication that whenever that falls over, go ahead and harvest them, get them out of the ground, get them cured, because you're not going to get them to be any larger than what they have been. Now, what can help with the growth on the bulb is making sure there's a lot of moisture. These plants like a lot of moisture and the less amount of stress in which you can give them by keeping the soil moist, damp, not soaking wet. will help the plant bulb development. And also there's conditional environmental conditions and just the type of seed itself. Sometimes, most onions grow to a certain designated size, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But when it falls over, that crimps, you're ready to go to harvest, and sorry if they're tiny. Well, we are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Did you miss any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it? You can certainly do that by going to your favorite search engine and typing in the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Or you can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will send you a link to the show. And you can also check out past shows at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com underneath the Season 6 tab at the top of the page. If you tune in next week to the program, we're going to talk about the world of bread and bread flours and 4 practices we don't do anymore or have never done and stopped doing. Our guest will be well-known award-winning author and editor of Southern Living magazine, Steve Binder, will be with us. He's known as the Grumpy Gardener, and will answer more of your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.